Hello, hi, it's Miri speaking. Long time I'm not talking and haven't done a video for some time. The last video I did was with my son. I should go and visit that tree, don't I? I haven't been there these days, especially now that it's so hot. Yeah, but everything has been very interesting time, to say the least. It's very hot, so I have to put my hair, up because it's very hot these days. I remember being hot like that many years ago in 1996, I think it was. Last time when it was very, very hot like now. But I'm glad the weather is so pleasant now, because then I have the opportunity to work on my garden. I have been working on my gardens for about 2 weeks now, because I have front garden, back garden, and a lot of ivies on my garden, so climbing on the wall, so I have to be, pruning them all the time, so not to take over everything, otherwise it would take over the house, and I would be without any place to be. So it has been a very interesting time. A lot of knowledge coming, lots of experiences. Has been very, very big, very big. Sometimes I think, oh my God, I can feel on my own body, the transformations and the work of the spiritual world on our body, and when I say body, I'm not talking about the physical body, okay? I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about the 7 bodies you have got, not just 3 or 4 or 7. You have more than 7, but that's just the amount of our small brain can't grasp this information. This has been very, very interesting time. But I want to talk. I was driving to talk today about something that happens. Actually, it's a mainly thing that happens, but especially some experiences I have been having. Okay. The first one that I'm gonna share with you, it's the one this morning. I had a very interesting awakening knowledge this morning. Something so simple, very simple, but it's very hard to grasp, very hard to embrace, very hard to because something is when you have a knowledge, intellectual knowledge of something, when your brain is, intellectually realizing something, and another thing is when it gets here, in your solar plexus, when it's getting here in your heart, because our heart have their own brain, okay? It thinks for himself. They don't need this brain to think. They can, they have all his own mind. Actually, all our cells can work, in this field, in this quantum, field. Every single cell of our body, it's And some information that I received this week, listened to Cryon, not actually was Cryon conference, but the scientists and doctors talking about our body, physical body, and then they said that we have more virus in our body than you have cells on our body. And this virus, they are the communicators of our body. It can change by time and working together like a team. They can program our body, to accept other stuff. So you tend to think that the virus is all negative, but virus can be positive also. Like bacteria. You have, you call friendly bacteria, That's the way you don't have another way of putting it, so you call them friendly bacteria. So you have also friendly virus on our body, and there is more virus in our body than cells. And they work straight with our immune system. So it's better for you to have friendship with your virus, population, to induce them to work for yourself, to work for your body and make it healthier, etc. Accept this changes that is happening in our body with this shift in the planet. Okay. So what I was thinking this morning when I wake up and I stayed quiet, because I don't wake up anymore like jumping and on my automatic mode. I am waking up and present myself and thanking all my companions and my family members, spiritual family members, and my ancestors, etc., for being alive. So, and to wake me up, next morning. So I was in this process, and then a thought was jumping to my brain. And I realized that what I was doing and what everyone is doing, I say doing like my grandson, my small baby grandson is saying like, I'm doing. What you doing? So yes, what I realized is what you do is you are trying to get enlightenment, from outside. So we go for rituals, we go for these tarot readings, like I'm doing tarot readings, etc. But I'm gonna teach something new. Okay, we go for all the experiences, and people goes for some types of hallucinogens, some people goes for these teas. I'm gonna drink this tea, and this tea is gonna release my brain, and then I will be enlightened. Or they go for substances, chemical substances, or they go for thousands of different stuff. And there is a guy here in London, in Old Street, that he works with, he mix a lot of different techniques, and he don't use this, he doesn't use this one, but he uses the big symbols, the bigger ones that the Buddhists have. And apparently he has about two in there, big ones, and he bangs it and puts some lights and some crystal lights, etc., to induce the brain, to release the toxins and release the mind control, so they can break this pattern of the brain, yeah, and try to get inside the spirituality or the enlightenment, whatever. So there is different, approaches for trying to get enlightenment. And what Buddha did was exactly this, and that's what came to my mind this morning. Buddha, when he, hello, sir, I have a Buddha in front of me there. The smiling Buddha, it's beautiful. So when Buddha left his house to get, decide to get enlightenment, he went exactly for this. He went for the outside environment. He went to outside techniques. And he spent 7 years trying with rituals, with eating just stupid things that I'm not going to repeat here because I did already. In another video, I did said about Buddha, the enlightenment of him, how it happens. So he spent 7 years with some Buddhists there, some Buddhists, not Buddha, some holy men, in a community there. Everyone was doing something horrible, trying to suppress the desires of the body, because they were doing to the body. Do you understand? They were not doing from here. They were not doing from here. They were doing from the body, outside body. And what the information comes this morning to me is the enlightenment. You can achieve enlightenment through the physical body. No. There is no ritual that is going to enlighten you at all, because it's from outside in. And enlightenment is from inside out. Buddha discovered it when he was nearly dead, by that small stream of water, a little river, and someone was coming down the river singing in a boat. The person was, in a boat, and he was doing his job. He was probably fishing or going somewhere, and he was singing. And then that specific moment, Buddha discovered that the reality he was in that moment in time was completely astray, completely wrong. It was not the method that he was using, it was not correct. It was not his physical body that had to enlighten it. It's from inside out. And then what he did? He kicked with the community there, and then he went his way with the rest of the strength he had, and he placed himself under a fig tree. Now, don't think that the fig tree has to do anything with his enlightenment. It was just a choice he did, because the fig tree is a tree of spirituality anyway. Not just because Buddha did his enlightenment, get his enlightenment, and then leave a fig tree, but because the fig tree also is from the Moiras, the three witches, and the gypsy, the gypsy spirits also. So it is a spiritual tree. But he would have get his enlightenment whenever he was. He could have his enlightenment by the river, But he chose that tree probably because of the shadow, etc. Because his enlightenment didn't come like straight away. He stayed there, and then he get inside himself. In the silence of the mouth, silence of the body. So he got inside himself. He decided to get to know him, who he is really, without the body. We use a lot of covers all over us, masks. You have many layers of mask on us. and to be completely nude, you have to have courage. You have to look at the inside mirror and see who you really are. Because sometimes what you really, really are is not that beautiful. We discover that God that is in me and me are negative and positive, are dark and bright. And the knowledge of it is very powerful because it can change our path. It's very hard to accept that we also are bad. It's very hard. You tend to think that we are good people, I don't do nothing wrong, or if I have something, if something different that I do is because I have to survive. We do excuse for everything. But at the moment you look at yourself inside, say, yes, that's what I am, and then is when you get enlightened. Because it's God in you experimenting not just the beauty of the planet, but the ugliness of the planet also. Gaia, Mother Nature, she supports us, but also she kills us. So sometimes it's very hard for us to accept it, embrace this knowledge, and say, yes, I can be good, I can be bad. But then the enlightenment is you choosing to be always good. You know that the potential of yourself is both ways, because God is positive and negative. He's not just positive, he's also negative. And me also, I am positive, I am negative. I can do good and I can do bad. But that's the enlightenment possible to achieve. It's when you realize it, it's when you accept it, embrace it, and say, everything is for good. This is also for good. It's complex. Do you know why? That's why a lot of people is not enlightened. Because you have to give up your previous knowledge about everything. You have to look at the lessons and the preachers that you heard so far. I am 65. I grew up in a Baptist church. I was, raised and educated, believing that there is two. God is one and devil is another one. But that's the mistake, because God is one. There is not God bad and God, devil and God good separated. They are not separated, they are one. And to give up the old, thinking, thoughts, principles that you have been touched so far, is not easy. So that's why there is not much enlightened people, because when they get to that point, breaks. No, it's not possible. It's not what I learned when I was young. It's not what my father preaches. No, that is wrong. That's not the church, etc. When you open your mind to accept that everything is one, there is no, separation between these two. That is, the only thing that have is the vibration of energy. There is a God that vibrates very low, and there is a God that is me also vibrating in a higher frequency. I have a friend, Amy, inside here, that brings a higher frequency note all the time in my head, okay? People calls this, what's the name of this? That noise that you hear all the time, 24/7, blah, 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 blah. I'm listening it for the last 20 years. It's here all the time. I wake up with this and I go to sleep with that noise. It's a higher frequency note, always. I can reach this frequency with my thing, but very high. It's here all the time. Sometimes very big, sometimes gets a little more calm. These days it's very high. I can hear it when I'm talking, and the only time I manage to get to hear something else louder is when I ring my bells on my ears. Then the noise the noise can go lower. Not they can go lower, I can hear less. But that's exactly what they are trying to tell me this morning. This noise inside my head, no one else listens to this noise, just me. That's enlightenment. Not the noise. Come on, it's not the noise, but enlightenment is like this. It's from inside out. It's from your solar plexus, from your heart, and from your, from your third eye, from your pineal gland. It's from inside out. And when I'm talking about pineal gland and third eye, it's not the physical one, okay? Please. It's the, the astral one, okay? That's what is important. Okay. Something that I heard this week, it was very inspiring. It was a rabbi, okay, a rabbi from the time of Jesus, more or less. He was living at this time, probably a little after, but before the destruction of Jerusalem, before the year 70, okay? Okay. His name was Gamzu, okay? Gamzu was his name, and Gamzu was called Gamzu because he always said that everything everything was for good. This is also for good. Everything was. So his name Gamzu is this is, okay? This is. So Gamzu, because of his saying every time, Gamzu letova, Gamzu letova, this is also for good, okay? This is Gamzu letova for good. So they call him Gamzu. So at this time, because of all this turmoil in Jerusalem, after Jesus died, etc., and then Caesar decided to put some more imposts, more taxes on people, okay? So people were very upset. So they asked Gamzu to go to Italy, to Rome, and talk to the Caesar. So, convince him to take off the extra tax that Caesar decided to input on people. So Gamzu said, okay, Gamzu letova, everything is for good. So they took a bag, like my boxes, a big box, and put a lot of jewelry and treasure inside, so he can take to Caesar in Rome and buy Caesar, paying for Caesar to put some the tax less. So instead of putting up, taking off, what he did. So Gamzu decided, okay, off he went to Rome. But when he got to the place, probably today would be Tel Aviv by the sea, to take a boat to go to Rome, because in those days they have the only way of traveling was by boat. So he was still in Israel, and he went for a sleep, yeah. And in the place he was sleeping, the guy that was owner of this place decided to rob a poor Gamzu. So in the morning when Gamzu wake up, everything was gone. And the box was full of earth, of compost, just this, normal stones and earth and compost. And Gamzu looked at the situation and Gamzu Letova, everything is for good. And he didn't went back to Jerusalem. He took his way to Rome with this box of sand, of earth, of compost. When he went to the Caesar and presented this box to Caesar, and Caesar opened it, he was mad. Caesar wants to kill him. Caesar wants to put him in prison, and then he went off to the prison, and instead of putting down the taxes, he puts over, more, to give them a lesson. So because they were making fun of Caesar. But someone in Caesar's palace told him, look, he was a historian man, he was a writer, etc. And he told Caesar, look, Caesar, I read once that in the time of Abraham, Abraham used sand that he brought from Canaan, from Israel. That time was not called Israel, of course, it was called Canaan. So he took this earth from there because he knew that the place will be from his, future generation. So he took that sand with him, and every time he had some fight with some countries, he used that sand. He throw that sand, and that sand turns in a spade and things like this, and kill people that was trying to kill him. And then the guy said, Caesar, send this box of earth, of compost to the people that is fighting for you, yeah, and see if it works. And if it works, that is a good present that's sent to you. And then Caesar did it, and worked. And Caesar managed to, overcome his enemies, and all his soldiers came back with, with treasures, etc. So Caesar took Gamzu from the imprisonment, and Gamzu said, Gamzu Letova, everything is for good. And instead of being in prisoner, and Caesar gave him more treasure to bring to Jerusalem, and say, okay, you don't need to pay anything because I have enough now, and I won the battle, etc. So Gamzu Letova went back to Israel with 3 boxes of of treasure for the government of Jerusalem on those days. So the story of Gamzu is very interesting. Everything comes for the good. So Gamzu Letova, everything is for good in our life. So when we embrace this knowledge, that everything is good, and you put together with the enlightenment process that go inside you, get to know yourself, get to know you, and say, everything is for the good of myself, everything is for good. Doesn't matter if it's a illness or if it's a beautiful car that someone dropped on your front door and said that is yours. Everything is for good. Do you understand? It's to have this knowledge from inside out. It's to have this impregnate on you, in your cells. So you're going to say to the virus of your body, everything is for the good, so work for me. Do you understand? And if something happens to you that sounds like no good, Gamzu Letova, everything is for the good. And get enlightened. Get inside yourself. Don't be afraid of yourself. Don't be afraid of who you really are. Because when you discover and you accept the dark and light, or you can raise your frequency like the frequency I have in my head. It's going to be higher, 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 higher. Gamzu Letova. Let's embrace us. Accept us the way we are. Get this message to my cells, every single my body, physical body cell. So say, yes, I have this body, I am in this body now because Gamzu Letova. Because this is for good. If I manage to get out of my body, Gamzu Letova, because then I am in my astral body. Or if I manage to get over my astral body, better. Everything is for good. And don't be afraid of discover that you are light. That you can be a higher frequency and you can go to a lower frequency. It's up to you. It's what you want to achieve. Higher frequency or lower frequency. And Gamzu Letova. Everything is for good. I want to talk about Shiva and Parvati and, Kailash, but the time is gone already. I will talk about Shiva and Parvati in another time, but it's another beautiful story. Beautiful story. Okay? Okay, God bless you, keep you safe. Thank you for watching. If you like my videos, just support us in our work, pressing like, etc. Okay? God bless you, keep you safe and you. So bye-bye.